It is Thursday. It is Therapy Thursday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Dr. Triffy. This is the Transforming Trauma podcast. And every Thursday, if live and the Lord wills, I show up and I try to offer something to help people learn how to think better, to feel better, and do better. Okay, I am a licensed psychologist in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also a licensed professional counselor. I live in Atlanta, but I am from Dominica. Now, Dominica is not the Dominican Republic. We love them, but they're a completely different country. Okay? We are further south and we speak English and a French Creole. So come on in, welcome. As you come in, share the live. I have a lovely guest with me tonight. I am so excited because usually I am going over to her house and I started feeling like a just a bad friend. Okay, y'all. I started feeling like a bad friend. You know, you're always inviting some of your friends over. You cooking for them. You making a nice little graph for them. Next thing, they never inviting you over, not even for a little squash. Okay, not even for a little squash. So I have the lovely, 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 lovely Dr. Simone with us. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself to us, and we plan to have a lovely healing conversation. Talk to me more.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Triffy, and good evening, everyone who is joining us via the Facebook Live. I am Simone Matthew. I am an associate professor of psychology, and more importantly, I am Dominican to the bone. I am very passionate about our goals. I think too many times that when we think of psychology, we only think of psychology for the purposes of solving problems, but we don't think of psychology in the sense of using it to achieve our goals. So that is my area of focus. So I'm kind of leaning more towards the life coaching aspect of psychology. So I wrote a book, Push Past 10, published it back in 2020. And since then, I've been doing a lot of work in the space of motivation, in the space of taking those lifetime dreams, that purpose is within you, and trying to help all of us to figure out how do we remain consistent in trying to achieve those goals, because we all get started, right? We all get started, but somewhere along the way things happen, life happens, and we put it to the side. So how do we remain consistent until the end is the question that my book answers. So again, it's Push Past 10, and it's pushpast10.com for more information. So again, Dr. Triffy, thank you for having me, and I look forward to being a part of this conversation this evening.
Oh man, I am so happy to have you. I'm so happy to have you. And y'all, we're gonna have a healing conversation. I know it's been rough for many of us and many of you who listened to me for the past 2 weeks, one day. Yeah, we're trying to take a little bit of a breather tonight, but not all the way. Okay. So Dr. Simone and I are gonna talk about some sweet things, about some maybe not so sweet things for an hour. And then after that, you and I, we will talk a little bit more. Okay, so Doc, you actually said something that I wanted to ask about because lots of people know about clinical psychology, what I do. So the easy picture that comes to many people's brain is, oh, you're doing therapy, you're doing evaluations. What is the school of psychology that you practice? Tell us a little more.
Yeah, so it's really more motivation. So it's really more along the line of wellness. So it's
Mhm.
looking at the overall person, and not necessarily. I leave the hard work for you, Dr. Triffy. I really do. I leave the hard work for you, and I want to do the fun things about having people explore who they are. Because I think once we truly know who we are at our core, that is where our goals and our purposes stem from. So I help them to discover, what are you really trying to do in this life. And I like to put it this way, because a lot of us have achieved so many goals and we don't really pay attention. A lot of us have been through our education. We have attained degrees, we've either gone for high school or college or associate degree certifications, right? Those are goals because you had to put the preparation, you had to put the work, you had to maintain the discipline to be able to get there, right? Raising our children, that's a goal to become fine young people,
Yeah.
achieving career goals, that's a goal. But then when it comes to some of the more challenging ones, like maybe weight loss, we don't associate the two. And we have to. We have to associate the two because it's in the same way you apply the discipline, preparation, and everything
Mhm.
as it took to achieve the goals that I just talked about. It is the same thing that will help you to achieve the goals in terms of that weight loss you've been trying to achieve for the last few years, or getting back into college if that is your goal, financial independence is if that is your goal. So when you think about it along those lines, you start realizing, hey, how was I able to achieve these other goals, but yet I'm beating myself up thinking I cannot
Mm.
achieve the goals that I'm now trying to achieve. So we have to make the association.
So, so it sounds to me like your branch of psychology, you make good people better.
Yes,
Ah, we
yes,
might make sick
yes,
people well, and
yes.
when
So
we get
you have to get
wellness,
them well, and then I take over.
that's it.
Send
That's
them
it.
to me.
Ooh. So, last night I was saying that, the best athletes, they have coaches. The
Yes.
best athletes have coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
your doctorate now is in industrial and
Mm-hmm.
organizational.
Organizational psychology. So
Yeah.
that is essentially the psychology of work. So
Yes.
it's a very long title, industrial organizational psychology, but it essentially is the science, the psychology of work. So we talk about motivation again. We also talk about
Mm-hmm.
the importance of leadership, and
Mm-hmm.
leaders are not necessarily those at the top, because many of
Yeah.
us know that we are leaders in our own right, even if we don't get the
Mm-hmm.
recognition for being leaders. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about conflict resolution, we talk about toxic work environments, which I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us can relate to. So
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy it because I think so many of us spend so many hours working, whether we're working remotely, we're working in an office. We spend a lot of time at work. So
Yeah.
it's become a passion of mine because just the amount of time that we spend, and we have to have quality work environments. And now the
Absolutely.
new challenge for us as industrial psychologists is now the whole balance with the online working environment. So how does that change the dynamics of teams? How does
Mm-hmm.
that change the dynamics of leadership? How does that change the dynamics of conflict resolution?
Yeah.
Right? So it just added a whole other aspect to industrial psychology. And I'm somebody who loves to learn. I'm always curious. I want to know what's the next thing. So it is one of those things. It's never stagnant. And as a matter of fact,
Absolutely.
when my students come in and they complete the course, all of a sudden
Mhm.
that's the field they want to pursue because it is such
Wow.
an evolving, it is such an evolving field. It's never a
Yeah.
dull moment.
Yes.
Hmm.
Another thing that I thought about as you were talking was now that we've made these transitions to a lot of home work,
Hmm.
where do we draw the line between working from home and
Yes.
real lives? Like, how do we
Yes.
do we ever stop working? Will we be able to create some
Yeah, and
balance?
even before the pandemic, that is a question I had to ask myself because
Mm,
I've been working remotely for the last 14 years,
wow.
and the boundaries get blurred because sometimes you end up working all the way through the night,
Yeah.
and you have to think to yourself, wait, if I worked a regular job, I wouldn't be working at 10 p.m. So
Mm-hmm.
the boundaries do get blurred, so you have to kind of pull back and say, you
Yeah.
know what, even if I can create my own hours, let me create hours that do not lead to burnout.
That is
Yeah,
very
yeah,
powerful. That is
yeah.
very
Yeah, but
powerful.
I
Oh
love
my
it. I love
goodness.
the work.
I am so happy to hear you talk about that part of yourself, Doc, because
Yes.
we are used to seeing Dr. Simone on the radio station. Okay, Q, I'm so sorry last night. Dr. Simone reminded me. I almost said a bad word. I said a half of a bad word. I'm so sorry.
That's
Please
okay.
forgive me. Okay.
Yeah, you were
Now,
passionate. You were passionate.
no. Yeah, so Doc, you do a couple other shows, and today you actually here to help me share with the people who listen to me your travel therapy, Dominica, and we'll talk about travel therapy a little bit again. But give me a little bit and tell us a little bit more about where we can find you so we can
Oh
hear
yes,
more
yes,
about.
yes. Well,
Yeah,
well, like you, the easiest way to find me is my website. So pushpast10.com,
yeah,
pushpast10.com, and then it links to all my social media. But for the most part, I'm on Facebook. I
yeah.
don't do Twitter. I don't really do Instagram. TikTok is certainly not for me. But I am mostly on Facebook at Pushpast10, and it's really about presenting motivational people,
Hmm.
because I think many times we don't realize that what we're trying to achieve, somebody else has done it before us.
Exactly.
People have come from where we come from. People have had the limited resources that we had,
Yeah.
and we were somehow able to figure it out. So I think the best way to motivate people is to put in front of them people that look like us. And
Yes.
one of the reasons I started the program is because I wanted more of our stories, right?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
was reading all this motivational information, and it was all about people in America, people
Hmm.
in Canada, people in England. And I'm like, we have our own stories too.
That's right.
Why are our stories not being told? And when you hear stories from like Dr. Swinburne Augustine, who is like
Mm.
at the highest level of immunology,
Yeah.
and speak to all these brilliant people who have come from Dominica. And the other thing I always want to make sure we do as well is that we look at every level. So we're not just
Absolutely.
looking at PhDs and MDs, we look at the young people who are blazing their own trail. We look at the
Yeah.
average person who has their own challenges, but are able to overcome it. Because again, for me, the best motivational tool is our own people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because what one person can do, another person can do. It's just that we
Mhm.
like to see it. We need to know it's possible for us. And then when we see people who look like us, I'm telling you, this
Mhm.
is one of the main reasons I have braved my shyness and decided, let me show up on Thursdays. So our people, not just in the US, but charity begins at home. So my
Mhm.
people from Dominica need to know there are psychologists who look like them,
Yep.
and it's okay. And so we can start breaking the stigma and our fear about looking for and getting and receiving mental health support and treatment, because we know the people who are doing it, they look like me. So they have my back. They're not weird and strange. They have my back.
Right.
Thank you to all the ladies and gents when you'll join in.
I'm
Kimmy,
looking at the comments. Kimi says you complement each other. I agree.
oh, I do believe that. Let me tell you
Yeah.
all, Dr. Simone and I, we met during the
Mhm.
pandemic. We
Yes.
met on, on one of your Push Past 10 shows.
Yeah. Jeffrey recommended you. I remember that.
Jeffrey Alexander,
Jeffrey
okay,
Alexander.
knew the both of us and said, hey, to Dr. Simone, have you talked to her? He said,
Mhm.
have you talked to her? And we just hit it off. It was so awesome the first
Yeah,
time we met.
and that is what everybody should be doing. You should be looking for like-minded people who have the same goals as you,
That's
and you
right.
should work together. I mean, I've lost count of how many times you've been on my program,
I know,
Doc.
right?
Because every time I reach out to you, you say yes, and the same thing with you. If you reach out to me, I'm gonna say yes, because that is what we're
Absolutely.
here to do. We're here to support each other and to support our own people back home.
Absolutely. Charity
Yeah,
begins at home.
yeah,
Yes. So,
absolutely.
so talking about home, last year I started this adventure, really. I'm actually wearing my little t-shirt, y'all. My little
Oh,
t-shirt.
nice. Oh,
I just
you
got
made
my t-shirt.
t-shirts.
Yeah,
Nice,
my little
nice. Oh, I
t-shirt.
love that. I love it. Love it. You should sell it.
I'm getting ready to start
You should.
offering these for sale, okay?
You should.
So last year, talk about changing pain, transforming trauma into beauty.
Hmm.
Last year on Mother's Day, my kid's dad, my ex-husband, died really suddenly on us.
Yeah, sorry to hear.
And yes, and the kids, I'm like, oh my God, it's just me now with
Mm.
them. And I said, I need to get some support, essentially. And for me, support is Dominica. For
Yep.
me, resetting and grounding myself is Dominica.
Mhm.
And that had worked for them in the past too, because both of them spent their eighth grade year in Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
So we said we're going to Dominica. We're staying for a month, and we're just doing stuff. So we were everywhere, even in the pandemic. But I saw how powerful the travel and the experience was for them to stop them from going into free fall. It
Yeah.
didn't stop them all the way because grief is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. And one event is not going to change their grief experience. But I'm telling you, it was so powerful. I decided to keep doing it when my fiance died now in December. Suddenly, I was
That's
healing
a
so
lot.
much. It's
Yeah.
a lot. But travel has been the thing that has made the most positive impact on my healing journey so far. So I've begun inviting people I love, people I care about, people I like, who have a travel experience to share what is their top five. What are their top five
Yes.
experiences wherever they go. And I chose top five because my fiance was a top five kind of guy. Top 5% of women, top
Ooh.
top 5%. He just liked good things.
Right, right.
So I am so excited. I cannot wait. I would love for you to start sharing your top five.
Yeah, and I think that is a great discussion to have. But I also think that you're leaning towards a very important point, Doc, because then it begs the question to our audience. And let us say good evening. I see Emma Thomas and Ed Phillip. We
Yes,
have the audience, Veronica Pascal. Guys, as you come in, don't forget to share the live. Thank you for being here. We'll take your comments in a little while. But
that's
I
right.
also think, Doc, for our audience, the question they have to ask themselves is, what is my therapy? Right?
Exactly.
Your therapy is travel, and I think that is
Exactly.
excellent that your therapy is travel. And when we say travel, you might be able to afford traveling outside of the country, but if you live in Dominica, Dominica is so beautiful. You can travel anywhere in Dominica and make that your therapy. Doc, I post a 1 minute video of driving through Dominica. That thing has gotten almost 6,000 views.
I saw
From
it.
that one
Yes.
video, people keep saying, "Oh my God, I can feel the breeze. I can close my eyes. I can feel the breeze. This scenery is so calming." That is
Yes.
therapy.
Yes. Absolutely.
Driving through the beauty of Dominica is therapy.
Absolutely.
So if you want to do travel therapy, you don't have to leave Dominica.
Exactly.
So it begs the question, what is your therapy? Is your therapy dance? Do you like to dance? Is that how you,
Yes.
you know what I mean? My therapy, you know what my therapy is, Doc. I like to work out. So that is my therapy of choice. But
Yes.
what is your therapy? So it is
Yes.
great because each and every one of us needs to have a therapy for
We
when
do.
times got hard. Imagine, Doc, back in the day, maybe about, I want to say like maybe 15 years ago, I had a
Uh-huh.
really bad breakup. Imagine I had two
Yes.
gyms there, two, one in the morning and one at night. By the time I got home, I was so exhausted. I didn't have time to think about the ex-boyfriend, and I got over him.
That's right. That's
It
right.
was my
That's right.
therapy.
So we have to
So
find our therapy.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. So going back to what you said, so I think that for me, the first thing for this travel therapy is our people. And
Mm.
our people could have been number one, two, and three because we have wonderful people in
Yes.
Dominica. I
Yes.
mean, the kindest hearted people. And I don't just say that to flatter Dominicans, it is
Yeah.
true. Imagine we went to buy a mattress at
Mm.
one of the local stores in Dominica, and we
Mm-hmm.
wanted the mattress delivered the same day. And they were like, well, we can't guarantee it's after 12. The guys are already out. And there
Mm.
was a young lady standing behind us in the line to pay. And she was
Yeah.
like, oh, let me call my boyfriend. I said, let you call your boyfriend. What are you calling your
Oh,
boyfriend? She said, my boyfriend is the driver of the truck that does the delivery. So let me see where he is.
wow.
Do you know she got on her phone? We completely forgot everything about that. We left. They were like, well, it doesn't come today, it'll come tomorrow. We were
Hmm.
downstairs waiting on our transport. She came back to us and she
Wow.
said, hey, I just finished speaking to my boyfriend. He will deliver the mattress for
That's
you
just great.
today.
Wow.
Tell me where you live. Give me the direction. We don't know streets.
Not hot,
So
not Atlanta.
we have to say, son is sharp, then turn, turn, turn. And do you know he came and he brought the mattress? She didn't have to do
Wow.
that. She
Wow.
didn't have to do that.
I
But
love
that
that.
just tells you how kind hearted Dominicans are. And you better not go anywhere and not say good morning
I
and not say
know.
good afternoon. They will put you in your place like
They
they will be
think
like, well,
of
good
you.
afternoon. You know? So our people is always going to be, in terms of the highlight of my trip, from
Yes.
airport to the supermarket, I am gonna say the bank. I am
Wow.
gonna say number one is going to be our people,
I love that.
right? And then number two for me is just the beauty of the place. It never gets old. It just never gets old. You just want to sit there and just marvel at the beauty. And you look at the mountains and you think to yourself, can you imagine? Those are the same mountains that our ancestors' eyes. Do
So,
you think about
oh my
that?
God. I just got, oh,
Do you think about that?
oh,
These are the same mountains. And think of the emotions that ran through our ancestors looking at those mountains. For
wow.
our Kalinago ancestors, it was promise and hope
Mm,
because
mm,
they were coming to a new land before slavery and everything
yes.
else. It
Yes.
was promise and hope, new opportunities, new land,
Mm,
right? And for our African ancestors, the amount of fear
yeah.
that must have been in them looking at
Yeah.
those mountains, not knowing what they were going to encounter. So
Hmm.
when I look at these mountains, I'm looking at these mountains in a completely different way
Oh,
than a
wow.
tourist would look at the beauty and the mountains and just the natural resources. We are so blessed. I mean, it's mango season, and I've been on a diet of mango and fish for like 3 weeks now because there is still so much abundance
Absolutely.
in Dominica, So for me, those were like the two top things that
Yeah.
I saw. But unfortunately, the third thing, Doc, is the level of poverty.
Oh
I have
my
to be
God.
honest. I have
Oh,
to be honest. I have
oh.
to be
Let me,
honest.
let me, so Amma says every morning she walks to Melville Hall and she just sits there and watches the Diablote Mountains in awe,
Yes.
in awe.
Yes.
Or she'll be driving and stop her car and just
Hmm.
goes in for a dip in the river with her clothes all the way on. I love
Yep.
this.
Yep. Yep.
Ah, yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes, yes,
Yeah. So that is powerful. That
yes.
is powerful. And I don't know if you're like me, but every time the plane starts to approach Dominica, I get goosebumps all
I
over.
know, I
Just looking at
know,
the mountains, looking at the scenery,
I
I just get
know.
overwhelmed with emotions that are just like pure joy and happiness,
Yes.
to be home. But then you look at it and you look at the level of poverty and you
What do you
contrast it.
see? What do you
No?
see in that? What do you
Just,
see in
and people, just basic needs. People don't have jobs. A lot of people don't have jobs. And imagine this one lady, I guess she's heard me on the radio a couple of times, and she literally walks all the way from Cartersville to Bath Estate, and she looked at me and she's like, do you have anything for me?
Oh, wow.
And I had blood because, I mean, our dollar has to stretch very far in Dominica. And I told her, unfortunately we don't, but it just tells you the level of desperation
Inspiration.
that people are experiencing, that she would walk all the way from Goodwill and come to
Yeah.
Bath Estate just to see if I could help her. You know
Wow.
what I mean? So there's a lot of need, but I think, and you know this very well. I just think we have to find a way to embrace e-commerce, the
Yes.
digital economy, open up Dominica to beyond the borders of Dominica, and just get people opportunity. And as a matter of fact, the next Roots Connections that I'm going to do is going to be on that topic
You
because
know,
we have to keep the fire right there.
I wished last night that we had more time because
Hmm.
I am like, we can do solar, we can focus on an area of need the world has and just
Hmm.
train our people. It's got to be digital. Digital is opening so many doors,
Hmm.
right? Everybody's got a phone, even if they don't have a PC. For the
Hmm.
most part, you've got a smartphone. You can run a business You
Yep.
can run a business on your
Yep.
phone
Yep.
entirely from A to Z.
Yep.
There are many ideas I think that would fit in with our nature island persona or essence or resilience themes or green energy. Like, what if we focused on teaching our young people how to build wind turbines? What
Yep.
if we focused on teaching our people how to work with solar? Like, what if,
Mhm.
like, what if we focus like a laser,
Yep.
on these emerging fields and became the place to go to for that particular,
Mhm.
because a lot of, in marketing, everything I'm learning as I learn marketing is you've got to have your target
Mhm.
clients, right? You
Yep.
have to have a niche. And the more you have a niche and the more you specialize, the better it is for you. So I wonder,
Mhm.
how a lot of these things might
Yeah,
help us.
and the other thing we also have to keep in mind is change takes time.
Yes,
Change takes time.
yes,
So the younger people may be more open to what we're talking about, but
yeah,
change takes time. So you have to be patient because for a while there, I was like, I keep telling these people, we need to be digital. We need to be. Nobody's listening to me. And then I'm
yeah,
like, no, that's not how it works.
yes,
Change takes time, and slowly but surely, if you keep consistent on the message
yeah,
and if you keep showing the examples,
yeah,
then that, because to me, nothing else matters in the world. If you don't have your health
yeah,
and if you don't have your finances,
yes.
what else is so important in the world? Your family, yes, but at the end of the day, you still have to feed and support your family.
Because life is too stressful and
Yes,
anxiety provoking without the
yes,
security of your finances.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
too stressful. Mental health now starts breeding in that kind
Hmm.
of environment. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep,
Anxiety is too high.
yep,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Messes
then
with our sense of security.
yeah, yeah. And then the other thing I noticed as well, in terms of the top five, and I made sure I wrote it down because I came prepared because I know you're very professional. But along the same line, though, in terms of income opportunities, there's
Hmm.
a lot of innovative people in Dominica. There
Hmm.
is a lot. So you hear a lot about the young entrepreneurs and what they're
Yeah.
trying to do to create their own path. And
Yeah.
we've had this young man driving us around since we've been here. And what he has done, he's recognized the need
Yeah.
and he's jumped in to fill it. And that is what you have to do when you live in Dominica.
Exactly.
So he
Exactly.
said there are a lot of buses that have their usual bus routes.
Mm.
But what a lot of people don't realize is those bus routes are very static. So
Mm.
guys go up and down from maybe seven to about like maybe two or three. And then
Yeah.
after that, it is so hard to get a bus. So what he
Okay.
started doing is doing the rounds after,
Yeah.
goes around Roseau after when he knows that many of the buses have already left. He
Right.
will go around and then he can now charge you because now he's a private hire. He can charge
Exactly.
you a little extra for you one
Yeah.
to ride his bus to where you're going.
I think that's excellent.
Yeah, so you have to be innovative, you have to be creative, and now you're seeing a lot of examples. And another example that I posted on Facebook, and I'm more than happy to give them a little shout out, is Flavors Grill. Because what is the biggest concern in Dominica? No lunch after 2 o'clock. Boy, I just get so mad.
I saw that.
And I can never remember every year,
Oh my
Doc. Every
God.
year I go, I am shocked and surprised when I'm in town and I go somewhere and I say, "Oh, you have any lunch there?" And they look at me like, "Are you crazy?" They're like, "But it's after 2.
I
No,
saw
we
that.
don't have
So
no
you're
lunch."
talking about an opening that's wide, it's there and ready for the taking for somebody
Yes,
who's willing to sleep in and go to
yes,
the later. That's it.
yes,
Change your
yes.
style.
So
Yeah.
so they've created fresh, healthy food,
Wow.
and they operate until 6 and sometimes 6:30.
Oh wow.
And those of us who are on vacation who don't want to cook every day, and
Exactly.
we're wondering, well, where can I get a healthy meal? It's right there. It's behind the Scotia Bank, which is now, I think, Republic Bank. It is
Okay.
right in the corner of that road.
Hmm.
So that if you're in town and you're looking for something healthy to eat after 2 o'clock, now you
Yeah.
have an option. So a
That's
lot of people are picking up on, you know what, I need to think outside the box.
Yes.
I need to be innovative. I
Yes.
need to recognize a problem and provide a solution, and I will earn an income.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
Recognize, look around you. I said it, I wrote a little post where I said something to that effect. I said, look
Hmm.
around in your community and see
Yes.
what's missing and see what
Yes.
people are willing to pay you for. You
Yes.
got a business idea. You got a
Hmm.
business idea. Google GTS. You will
Hmm.
learn how to run a business. You'll see how other people are running businesses, even if you don't go to classes. Okay, and
Hmm.
even if you want to do classes, there are classes online. There's YouTube
Hmm.
University, there's Google University,
Hmm.
all the information is there now. Now we have to start, like you say, using our creativity.
Yep. And
Yes.
you're seeing a lot of that
I
in
love that.
Dominica. So that is very, very encouraging. And then of course, number five has to be the cuisine. I mean, come on.
The
It
food,
has
the
to
food, the
be
food.
the food, fresh food, healthy food. I'm still very happy that we don't have a lot of fast food places.
Yes.
I'm still, but my daughter was asking me today, she's like, but mommy, there's no like McDonald's, no she likes Chick-fil-A. She's like, there's no Chick-fil-A, there's no McDonald's, there's no Wendy's. I say, no, honey, we eat real food. The real food mommy cooks for you at home, that's what we eat in Dominica. We
Okay,
don't
down here.
do. So I have to say, like, thumbs up that we still, for the most part, the people who cook our own food.
Yes.
You go to somebody's house, you get a nice plate of stewed
Right.
chicken, some
Mhm.
provision, a nice salad. So, those are my top five.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that, dog.
Yes,
Thank you for
so there's
sharing.
a lot
Mama,
of therapy for me, for real.
I'm telling you. And
Yep.
without even thinking about it,
Hmm.
without even thinking about it, it's therapeutic.
Hmm.
That's one of the reasons I really, to me, like my soul needs Dominica when I need to
Oh,
recharge.
yeah,
It really
absolutely.
does. Yeah. Amma
Hmm.
says one of the things that will help the country is more of us plugging in. Absolutely. My daughter, who's 25 and US born, fell in love with Dominica and is there permanently. I
Wow.
love it. I love it. I've got my two ready. They're like, when are we going? When are we moving down to Dominica?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And her group of friends are activated. She says, however, the people are chronically
Chronically
depressed.
depressed, yeah.
When we are there, they get a dose of energy, but after we leave, it goes. They crave
Yep.
leadership. We really need to plug in physically. I think
Hmm.
there's a
I agree. I agree.
remembering that has to
Mm.
happen. People. What do you think? What are your thoughts in response to that comment by Anna?
Oh, that let me just read it one more time. They're depressed chronically,
Mm.
crave leadership, and they really need to plug in physically. Yeah, there's a lot of need. There's a lot of need, and it almost feels like people are very reluctant to talk to you
Oh,
because they're not quite sure. And it's sad because all of it boils down to politics. So
mm,
they're not quite sure on which part of the political spectrum you fall. So
yeah.
you will see that they will say something, and it
Oh,
might be something a little bit opposed to the government, and then they wait to
yeah.
see a reaction. They're like, wait, let me see.
Yeah. They don't
And
know
then
what you're
if you
feeling.
don't respond negatively, they just
Yeah,
give it all to you.
yeah.
Yeah, give it all
Oh.
to you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear in Dominica. There's a
What are
lot of
some of
people
the
who are afraid
fears
to.
you think? What are some of the fears you think?
Well, people are afraid to speak out. People are afraid to talk about their particular situations
Oh
because
wow.
they're afraid of retribution. Put it
Oh
this way.
my.
They're afraid that I might say something to you and it might get back to the wrong ears, and I might lose an opportunity. That's what it
Mm,
boils down to. You can
mm,
feel it. You can feel it when you speak to people, right? You can feel they're reluctant to really talk about how dire their personal situation is
yeah.
because they're afraid that either you might go tell somebody or somebody might overhear what they're saying. And people have a right to talk about their situations.
Well, let me
If
ask you
I'm
this.
doing well, I should be able to say I'm not doing well.
I was about to ask you, as an industrial and organizational psychologist who works a lot with stuff like problem solving and conflict resolution and communication, like how do you communicate your needs in a
Hmm.
way that you express your need, because I think I see that a lot on Facebook. Facebook gives me a good idea that a lot of our people are trying to express their needs, but sometimes the way the need is being expressed, it comes loaded with many, many strong feelings. And sometimes the hearer loses the point because their emotions get triggered.
Right, right. But I think it goes even beyond that, because it's not necessarily that we don't have the words to express our needs. We have the words.
Mhm.
We're very articulate people. We're very educated and bright people. But
Mhm.
it's the overarching fear,
Of
right? So
actions that come in
yes,
response to the words you say.
yes. So we know what we want to say. We have the
Mhm.
words to say it, but what are going to be the consequences of saying it?
Yeah, yeah,
Right? so
yeah,
so that is what the issue is. What is going to be the consequence if I say, things are really hard for me, I
yeah,
don't have an opportunity, I don't have a job, I don't have money to pay for my children's education,
yeah.
right? It's going to create a problem for me. And the other thing I have to mention very quickly is, can we put the babies in the back seat?
Oh my.
I mean, I know we don't do car seats. Car seats are probably a luxury for a lot of
Mm,
Dominicans.
mm.
But I drive around and I cannot believe the amount of little babies I
Oh
see
wow.
sitting on the lap of mothers in the front seat of a car. And it's not being judgmental, it's a matter of
It's a
safety.
safety issue. It's a safety
It's
issue.
not being judgmental and saying, well, you all come here with your US rules and blah, blah, blah. No, it's just a matter of safety.
So
Why not have
so
somebody else sit at the front and you, as the mom, just sit behind a chair so that if there's an
yeah,
accident, at least you have a cushion of the chair
right.
in front of you to
There's a
cushion
barrier.
your baby.
You know,
Yeah.
even with the accidents and the number of accidents we seem to have been having lately, I
Mhm.
wonder, are we wearing our seatbelts?
No, oh, forget that. You notice I didn't even mention seatbelts, right? I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
is not even a conversation to be had here. People
Mm-hmm.
don't wear it and they don't want to talk about it. But
Oh
I'm
wow.
just saying, to protect the innocence of a child.
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
At the very
forget
least.
about seatbelts. We're not going to go anywhere with that conversation. But at
Wow.
least have the presence of mind to say, well, I'm sitting with a baby.
Yes.
You sit at the front,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe you're sitting at the front because all the other seats are taken, but have somebody else sit at the front
Yeah.
just to protect. But I mean, just people just do it like mindlessly. They don't even
Mm.
think about it.
Yeah.
They don't even think about it. So I just thought, I'd throw that in because
Yeah.
I've seen it a lot.
I appreciate you saying that
Yes,
because
yes.
from 8 o'clock, I'm going to be talking about this. I think that in Dominica, it's time for us to bend or break.
Mm-hmm.
Either we bend or we will break.
Mm-hmm.
We must bend in Dominica or we will break. And I will talk about some of the things I see from my
Mm-hmm.
perspective that tie into this, the fear, and fear of talking and fear of retribution. I think I have some ideas about where that stuff is coming from, but I
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes when you maybe have been doing a thing for so long, you
Yep.
might lose perspective, so you're not seeing. So it's like when you go away on vacation and you come back home, well, me anyway, and I realize, oh my god, I have all of this makeup on my
Well, it looks beautiful.
right. So or you come back and you realize, hey, I thought I cleaned my house properly, but what is that?
Yep.
You know what I
Right,
mean? Whoever
right,
is different.
right, right.
If you're in it all the time,
Mhm. Yep.
you're likely to lose perspective.
Right, right.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now a little bit of the reality now,
Yep.
uh, the painful reality. You've been home. When you went home,
You
the
know, you know, you know,
somebody.
Kanisha disappeared the day I got here, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
3 weeks
goodness. What is
ago.
it
She
like on the
disappeared the
ground?
Tuesday. Hmm.
What is it like on the ground at home?
Well, I think there are too many conspiracy theories. And like we were talking about last night, it's time to redirect the energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have to continue to search. We have to continue to search. We have to continue praying for her. There's nothing we can do now. We have a right to be upset that the guy was killed, and now he cannot help us with finding her.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to leave the searching to the police. And we, as a Dominican community
Yeah.
here in Dominica and the diaspora, now have to think, where do we go from here? And if you
Yeah.
recall, there was a lady who called and talked about how they formed the Marigot Mental Health Group on
Yeah.
Facebook, and I thought
Yeah.
that was brilliant.
Is that Amma? Amma, is that you that formed
It was you that called?
the gardening club and the mental health awareness
It
group? If
could
that,
be,
type it
because
in
she
the
was a
chat.
gardening club.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was Anna.
Yeah. If that's you, type it in the chat. But definitely, I remember
Yes,
that.
yes. So I thought that was a perfect example of
Yeah.
the need to redirect our energy,
Yeah.
because spinning all these conspiracy theories, all that is doing is just increasing the anxiety,
Yes.
increasing. Yes, she said it was her. Oh, thank you, Amma. Thank you so much. That was an excellent
That
contribution.
was. Mhm.
That was an excellent contribution last night. So thank you so much for calling in. But how do we redirect that energy?
Yeah.
So, what, like Amma just did in your neck of the woods,
Yeah.
can you do about mental health challenges in your area? Because as you think of doing it on your end, collectively, we're solving a problem,
That's the
right?
answer.
That's the answer. That's
That's
the
the answer.
answer. So our heart still bleeds for little Kernisha, but we have to now think, what can I do? What can you do? And we've already started talking about, collaborative work, connecting
Yeah.
counselors to people in Dominica, engaging Dr. Gina Leighton on
Yes.
some of the conversation. She has resources, so you have resources, I have resources, Anna has resources, pulling those resources together. So
Hmm.
we're spending less time talking conjecture, talking,
Right.
what could have happened, what may have happened. Well, who's to say he was the one who took the child? Those things are good, but what else can we be talking about?
Yeah. That is
What else can
actually
we be talking
positive.
about?
That involves taking positive action because
Yes.
always, more often than not, taking a positive action is how you neutralize pain energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you neutralize it. Do
Mm-hmm.
something positive or
Yes.
stop doing something negative.
Mm-hmm. And that is part of therapy.
Yes.
That is part of therapy. So therapy, speaking to a licensed psychologist like you is great as well. But therapy is also taking action,
Absolutely.
so that you're not just sitting being overwhelmed in the depression. And I mean, I'm looking at Dominica politics, and I'm seeing certain people who are posting like just about every hour
Every
with a
hour.
different question regarding clinician. I'm thinking to myself, stop. Just stop for 1 hour, collect yourself, and say, okay, I'm not going to post for the next maybe 3 hours,
Yeah.
and just give myself an opportunity to think in terms of, how can I help so another
Mhm.
condition doesn't happen again? How
Yeah.
can I help? What can I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
right in my own area, my own space,
Yeah.
to stop something like this from happening again? And then go back to posting the Dominica politics if that's what you
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
But at
Because,
least you'll be working on something.
part of what I'm going to talk about is the fact that we might not want to face it, but collectively we have agreed to this event that's happening to
Hmm.
Anisha. All of us, in and out, have participated.
Hmm.
We have, by
Hmm.
what we've done and what we've not done, by what we've
Hmm.
said and not said, by how we've acted and not acted. And so we
Yep.
have to seriously ask ourselves a question as a
Hmm.
collective, as a collective. But the collective is really the 70,000 individuals. And if the individual starts to change, that's where it's at. Because if you
Hmm.
do it and I do it and you over there do it, we all do it. And
Yep.
Dominica moves.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think this is the ideal time, because on Roots Connections I talk a lot about tap into our experts to help move Dominica forward. This is the perfect opportunity.
absolutely.
This is the perfect opportunity to bring those skills together to do something productive that will move Dominica forward.
I tell you what, it's happening. I'm
Hmm.
going to say it is happening because I've received several calls just myself
Good.
alone. So I know many people are calling each other and
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, what can
Yeah.
we do?" Because
Yeah, and
I'm
I have to go back. I have to go back and look at the comments from last night because I suspect there were a lot of people on there that were making suggestions that
yes,
we probably act on because we were so focused on solutions that I
yes,
think we will find that there were quite a few comments of people who are ready to act. As a matter of fact, I think I recall seeing one. So I'm gonna
yes.
go back and look through. It's a lot, but I'm gonna
And
go through all of
and
them.
that's the thing,
I'm gonna go through all of them.
we have to be willing to explore all the potential solutions and not just beat it out of each other just
Right.
because we didn't come up with it. We have to
Hmm.
respect each other's individuality. You talked about our individual creativity. I mean, the evidence of how creative we are is that when we leave
Oh.
Dominica, right? You see how we excel. You see how we excel. We have the raw material.
And
We
I
have to
was having
find
I was
out.
I was having that conversation with a Porto. You know what? I don't like to call politics. I don't like to get involved in politics. But I was having a conversation with someone about that because he kept saying, "Oh, what factories y'all keep talking about? Dominica need factories that should have used the CBI money for factories, blah blah blah." I told him, "Well, think of it this way. Think of it this way. Why are so many Dominicans suffering financially here in Dominica? But as soon as we hit another country, boom,
Yeah, yeah,
boom, we
yeah,
just go crazy because we've never had opportunities and now we have all these opportunities. So we
yeah,
have like 6 jobs
yeah.
and earning
Exactly.
money doing like 5 different things. So
Exactly.
what does that say about the enabling environment in Dominica? And that is the basic question. Why is it that so many people are suffering on the ground, but when they leave and go overseas, they excel?
Yes, yes.
So it tells you something about the lack of an enabling environment on the ground. And that
I've
is the
been reading.
reality we don't want to talk about.
Now, here's the thing. I've been reading. I posted the book. I posted a link to the book. You can get it on audio on YouTube. It's called Atomic Habits, and that
I've heard
book
of
is
it.
on the bestseller list for months and months and months and months. And
Mhm,
when that happens, is because people are paying attention, right?
mhm,
Now, I wrote a book called Do It Now, where I study
mhm.
habits. How do you change your habits? Because,
Right.
honey, I had to change many habits. I had to change many habits like procrastination
Yep.
and perfectionism, which is very Dominican, but it's very debilitating
It
when you
is.
have to try to succeed and you're being a little perfectionist. Yeah, that's a positive on one side, but it can hold you back because you don't
Yep.
really, you don't do because you hold yourself back. It's got to be good. It's got to be the best. It's got to be the best. Now, that book talks about how if you only change your environment,
Yep.
so many of us, we think to change a habit, like even like alcohol, too much alcohol or whatever, or we're not waking up on time. Many of us think that we're just bad people. Like we just are not strong people because we've made those resolutions for years and years. We're still working on them. Sometimes all you have to do is to change one cue in your environment. One thing you have to do that's different from the chain you used to follow, and boom, you get the results you're looking for. Okay? Something as simple as, hey, I want to work out. Like you said, you love the gym. I want to work out, I got to lose 20 pounds, right? If you would put your workout gear out the night before,
Before.
pretty workout big gear, right? You're
Yep.
looking forward to
Yep.
getting your little nice dandan. It's there
Mhm,
right away. As soon as you wake up, honey, you brush your teeth and you come straight back and put your workout clothes on. You've
mhm.
already won half of that battle of getting to the gym.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you only changed one thing.
One thing. And it's
Mhm.
environmental. So he says,
Yep.
but in large measure, habits change when we change things in our environment.
Yep.
So we automate it. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to remind
Mhm,
ourselves about it. So
mhm,
we have to think now outside of the box because we are at breaking point. There is there's no need to be idiotic about it. There's no need to be blind anymore. Now is the time to wake up because, figuratively, we have a bus full of passengers about to defale. Defale means you're about to go over the cliff.
Right?
Okay? That's Alex will teach you that word, defale.
Yes,
Don't,
yeah, oh, I know that word, man. Come on.
yes, you're about to go down a falles,
Right.
okay? Depending on what action you take next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So this is where we're at, and we have to explore options and potentialities that have worked for many other people.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is a huge opportunity, and I'm just waiting to see. I'm waiting to see how we as a society, we as a community,
Yeah,
I'm waiting to see what do we do with this situation.
yeah,
I'm waiting to see if such a tragic situation is going to just be, like you like to say, Doc, too short, too
too
flam.
far.
We're excited, and I like how you put it that now that our adrenaline is slowing down because we
Yeah,
cannot remain on that high forever, the car will crash.
it will
The
crash.
car will crash if you stay on that high
It
forever.
will.
So
Mhm.
now that things are starting to simmer down, are we going to start changing the conversation? It is now behind us. Polly the Kernisha Ettienne will continue talking about her forever, and that is the end of the story. Or are we going to use this as an opportunity to create a movement that finally, for once and for all,
Yes,
tackles mental health?
yes,
Because we've been having this conversation for what, 30, 40 years? We've
yes,
been
yes,
having the
yes.
same conversation about the need for mental health resources in Dominica that doesn't just include waiting until the person gets bad enough to send them up to the psychiatric unit. You know what I mean? So that is what I'm waiting to see. When
Yeah,
once the conversations start to die down, and
yeah.
we're prepared to do the work, mind you. We are
Absolutely,
prepared to do the work. So
absolutely.
I'm not pointing fingers, and as you notice, I'm saying, what are we
Yeah,
going to
absolutely.
do? What are we going to do? Are we going to just move on to the next conversation? And we all know our favorite conversation,
I
politics.
know, I know, I
So,
know,
so what are we gonna go back to? Oh, is Kerry gonna call a snap election and
I
electoral
know.
reform, and only talk about that? We can walk and chew gum.
At the same time, at the
We
same
can walk
time,
and chew gum. It
it's
doesn't
not
have
one
to
or
be
the other.
all or none.
That's right.
It
It's not
doesn't
one
have
or
to
the
be
other.
only talk about. It can be talk about politics,
Yeah,
and it can be talk about mental health, and it can be
yeah,
talk about child abuse, and it
yeah,
can be talk about economic
yeah.
opportunities. But
We
it
have to
seems
do all
like
of
we're
it.
always one or the other.
Well, I think this situation is at the point where the wound is so infected that there's no way to not talk about all of it at the same time. And it's
Mm-hmm,
all hands on deck. We have to, we're adults, we're an
mm-hmm,
independent nation. We don't need
mm-hmm,
saviors. Everybody's got their own stuff. And the kind of saviors we get in, they're not in our best interest because
nope.
they're voting from other people. So
Yes. They're
that's
there to
not,
save themselves, not us.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Amma has a great idea. Amma says what she did, right? To respond to what she was, the error she was making, Amma says, is she was talking a bunch of politics and not getting
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. It's
Yep.
only insanity. That's the definition of insanity. To keep doing something you see is not yielding the results you're looking for. That's
Mm-hmm.
they're calling that, almost like dry and fukam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because your level of mental health is not that, to where you need medication, but your reasoning, the way you're looking at life, it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
You keep
Right.
doing something, banging your head against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
She
Mm-hmm.
said she today the group now has 650
Wow.
650
That's
people,
nice. That's
and they're
nice.
so happy in Dominica Garden Club. So you
Mm-hmm.
transmute the energy of fear, anxiety, rage, calling
Mm-hmm.
each other bad names, all that kind of stuff that is so negative. It is so
Mm-hmm.
heavy. These emotions are too heavy for us to make progress. To change that into something beautiful like gardening, that's all Dominica. Whew,
Yeah, and then she also says her friend Gloria Lawrence has Dominica music, more therapy. I mean,
absolutely.
our music is my therapy.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm.
Yeah.
And then my sister is here, Sabria Senhouse, and she says Well, part of it is lack of information and updates from the authorities on the search for Kernisha. Absolutely.
Yeah,
People want to help, and most are left speculating. So true.
yeah,
Dr. Trifi, your sessions have really helped people put things into perspective. And by just talking it out, that
absolutely.
is very much, you see what I told you? How you
Thank
are really
you.
breaking it down and helping people to process what is going on, because this is a traumatic event for the entire nation.
At home and abroad. At
Yep,
home and abroad.
yep,
At
yep.
home and abroad.
And then newness as simple as making your bed every morning. Oh,
Absolutely.
speaking my language.
Absolutely.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
we there's so much information now that
Hmm.
I don't think we have the excuse anymore that we don't know. Because
Right.
if you want to know GTS, you just type it in.
Hmm.
You just type
Hmm.
it in. And
Hmm.
so what we have to move from is not just collecting information, but now applying the information,
Hmm.
implementing what we've learned.
Hmm.
Step
And you
two.
know, and I agree with you that it's already starting to work, because I was in touch with Gina today, and she said she's gotten responses already,
Very
and
nice.
somebody reached out to her as far as away as Maryland. You
Wow.
know, so I think we just have to keep hope alive
Yes.
and just continue to have these conversations and
Yes.
continue to figure out what is the next step, what is the next actionable step that we can take to keep the spotlight on mental health. And another person we want to involve in the conversation as well is Carlton Lando from
Mm.
Charlie's, because he's
Tell
very
us about
passionate.
him.
He's
Tell
very
me about
passionate about.
him as we start wrapping up this hour. Can you
Yeah,
tell me more
yeah.
about him?
Yes, I interviewed him in February of last year, I want to say, or February
Mm-hmm.
of this year. And he's
Mm-hmm.
very passionate. He wants to work on
Mm-hmm.
anything that involves mental health. So
Mm-hmm.
he's already
Okay.
someone we can include in a conversation
Yes.
about what can we do, because I mean, think about it. He's with Jollies. I'm with Q95.
Ah,
So we already have a platform. You
right.
have your platform. I have like several of them. So
Right.
how can we use those platforms
Yes.
to do what we need to do? Because I don't believe in waiting on government. I don't
You
believe in waiting
cannot.
on government policy, because we'll be waiting forever.
And it's a self-defeating posture to
Hmm.
allow any other human being that much control over
Yes,
you that you
yes,
have to wait for them to
yes,
put something in your mouth. You have
yes.
lost your dignity. You've lost your
Hmm.
connection to your divine spark.
Hmm.
If you take that posture, it is
Hmm.
not, that's where you have the paralysis, a lot of
Hmm.
paralysis. So we forget our individual creativity when we decide that the government must do everything for us.
Yep,
It
yep.
doesn't happen anywhere else on the
There's
planet.
no way. There's
It
no way
happens.
the government can do everything.
Cannot. Cannot.
No
We
way.
got to give them their blows for what needs to be done that we need, and we got to speak up about it, yes, but we have to really tap into and remember who we are. That's what it is. Like,
Hmm.
we got to wake up.
Yep, yep. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yep. Hmm.
Amma says, also, my friend Ella Thomas is big on mental health. Simone, I believe you may know Ella from Convent. She's about our age group.
Right,
Yes.
right, right. So send us the names. Send us the
Yes.
names. We're more interested in helping and being a part of the conversation, because I
Yeah.
would hate to see that after all of this, we just go right back to what we were doing before.
And you
That's
know
it.
who changes that? We do.
Yep,
So we are
yep,
changing. We are
yep,
changing.
yep,
So, Doc,
absolutely.
let me tell you, I need for you to offer the people a parting few thoughts. What do you want us to remember? I'm so
Well,
grateful
well,
to you.
yeah, well, in terms of
Before you said, I got to big you up. I'm very grateful to you for like being a voice out there in the world. Like you're just showing up. You're consistent. You're like,
mhm,
you're okay, but there's this need over there. I mean, you talked about six jobs, but Doc, you're doing like 50 things at the same time, and you're doing all of them very well. Okay,
oh, thank you,
exceptionally
thank
well.
you.
So I want to give
Yeah,
you those. Yeah.
and I think a lot of it comes from just being passionate about Dominica,
Hmm.
because I think, like me and you and Amma and everybody else who follows our programs, we
Yeah.
know where we come from.
Absolutely.
We know where we come from. We know what we've been through.
Absolutely.
Right? we know what we still go through, even if people think we make it look easy.
Absolutely. Y'all gotta wait to hear me talk about this.
People think we make it look easy, like we have it all figured out, and we
Yes.
don't. We
Yes.
wake up every morning and we say, some days we say we're just going to put one foot in front of the other
Mm.
and see what happens today, because we all go through our situations.
Oh,
Yes. And the final thing I will say, Doc, which is what I said on one of the programs I was on, is mind your energy. Mind your energy. Decide who you're going to give your energy to every day. It is not just because somebody's calling you out, calling out your name, calling you this, calling you that, that you have to give into the energy. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Let them call. They don't know you. They don't know you. So if they want to call you everything but a child of God, let them go ahead and do it. I see so many people, just before somebody says something about them, they're ready to jump and jump into the gutter and jump into the fight. Let it go. Let it go. So that is always my final thought. Mind your energy, preserve your energy for what you need your energy for, and let other people handle their energy the way they want to. If they want to waste their energy doing unproductive things, doing toxic things, doing negative things, well, that's them. But what do you want to use your energy for? Because we can all see how quickly a day goes by. You know what I mean? So that would be my final thoughts. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Triffy. Please continue to be the voice for us. I know it is exhausting. I know it is exhausting, because I know how much energy counseling and being that voice can be. So you have to take care of you. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. And I love to see you on your nature walks, because Atlanta is beautiful and green, and we love it for that. But remember to take care of you, but continue to be that voice for us that is providing us with the information that we need to process everything that is going on with this whole situation, and even beyond the situation. Because one of the things you touched on last night is the trauma from our ancestry.
I'm telling you, we
So
haven't
there's
even
a lot
touched
to
that yet.
unpack. There's a lot to unpack. So continue going. Continue to be our Dominican psychologist.
Oh, thank you, Doc. Thank you so much. Enjoy Dominica on my
Thank you.
behalf. You're gonna come
Yes.
back soon, though. You're gonna come back soon, though.
Yes, yes, we're coming back this weekend, and of course, I'll link up with you.
Awesome.
All
Thank you
right, so
so much.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you, everybody on Facebook. I'll see you soon.
Oh,
All right,
y'all,
take care.
I am
Uh-huh.
so
Uh-huh.
thankful.
Yes.
Yes, I'm so thankful that Dr. Simone was able to come and hang out with the sister. Yeah. And talk and talk and share her travel therapy. Thank you all so much for showing up for her and me. And I am very excited to share a few more thoughts with you today. Okay. So you all see I have my son is a budding herbalist, so he has all kinds of lemon, key limes, grapefruit, orange, ginger, all kind of stuff in this to help his mama throat and that cough delete, delete, delete to go away. Okay, so we are continuing to pray for Kanisha's safe return. Kanisha's safe return. I think that it's my posture in life that all things can work together for good. My posture in life too that each of us has a mission on the planet. And we don't know Kanisha's mission. We don't know why Kanisha is on the planet. I believe it's for something big and powerful based on all that is coming up and out as a result of this event. So we're going to keep praying for her safe return. And we are also realistic, and we know that every day that goes by, we might not get her back safe. We know that. But I really pray that at least we get her back to help all of us heal better, because I've shared this with many people here all the time. I know how long it took me to recover from my mom's death because we did not have her body to say goodbye to. So I understand the importance of ritual in helping us come to closure on this. I think the not knowing is going to be very painful for many people. And we got to go day by day, take it day by day. Today, you all hear my voice. I listened to some very deep meditation, did some very grounding exercises to help myself because, at least for today, I want to be calmer. Lene says she misses my calm voice from travel therapy. Ecclesiastes says there's a time for everything under the sun. And so tomorrow is more fire, right? I'm like DJ Easy. DJ Easy, run this show, right? DJ Easy. But then you had the little kid in the background saying, more fire, more fire. I'll try not to give too much fire tonight, but we gotta keep talking. We've got to keep talking. So I think it's time in Dominica to bend or break. That bend or break idea. Did your parents ever talk to you like this? If you don't want to hear, you will feel. It's bend or break. You better get it straight. Get it together. It's bend or break. Okay? I think this is a battle that's right now very mental. It's a mental battle. Because it's all in our thoughts. You see all the ideas we're posting and the back and forth on Facebook? Even me, this is a mental battle. Okay? It's not physical. We're not out there fighting physically. And it might be a spiritual battle, but it is manifesting right now in the mental realm. So everything in the universe is mind. There's a law in the universe called the all is mind. The universe is mental. And if you want to win many battles in your life, you got to look at it from a mental perspective. You got to fight the battle mentally. Okay? This is where I want to start with this. There used to be a time when people used to say that Dominica is dead au bon Dieu. What does that mean? That Dominica is at the back of God, is at God's back. And that was not a nice thing. We didn't use it in the positive sense. We had no electricity in many of the villages, no water, standpipe. You have to go by a river to wash your clothes and pong your jeans and brush your father's jeans on hard stone. Okay? It's crayfish you eating. I think we have some self-esteem issues that developed as a result of this. You hear people talking about, all the other Caribbean islands, they're more affluent than Dominica. Dominica is Las Cacarat, this, that, and the other. I think our self-esteem is still suffering a little bit. And I don't know if it's just about that, but I have some ideas. I think we started calling ourselves Nature Island of the Caribbean. You remember that? And we got a little bit of a boost. We're like, well, at least we're special. We have 365 rivers. But you don't have that though. At least we are Nature Island of the Caribbean. I think that's working, for us. But I think we still get hit. Our little self-esteem still getting a blow when you go out there and you're telling people you're from Dominica, you're from Nature Island of the Caribbean, and they say, oh yeah, I was there last week. And you ask them, tell me more, where did you go? And they tell you, Punta Cana, honey, Punta Cana. And you have to spend 2 hours telling them, wrong Dominica. You understand? So I think we still have some self-esteem issues. So back to the Dea do Bonte concept. I think collectively in the 70s and 80s, we decided to rise in consciousness. We were like, we're done with this business of we Dea do bon Dieu. You hear Chubby talking about it. Chubby say it's solely talon ho we like. And even if our foot breaking, but we in talon ho is makeup. Tout moun ka servi makeup, lipstick, cafe, why. So we did this rise in consciousness. It was a shift higher. Hmm? We free up. I mean, my little village of Cottage didn't get electricity till I was about 10. So I lived for a big part of my life without electricity. We had to buy our little block of ice in Portsmouth. We studied by kerosene lamps. We studied by candlelight. So now light come, light. When light come, what happens to darkness and shadow? No, you're not in the shadows anymore. You're not there, bon Dieu anymore. There's no more proverbial darkness anymore. No, you're in the light. And we wanted that light. We wanted that shift to the light. Okay? We free up. Now everybody have cable TV. Even if it was one person in the village with their little TV and you like this trying to see World Wrestling Federation, everybody now start having their little TV. Okay? But being there at Dobontier was not all bad. My brain works in a weird way, right? So when I think about being there at Dobontier in the shadow, right? If we're behind God back, there's a shadow, he's blocking the light. Okay, darkness, but protection. We were there at Dobontier. But is it a psalm that says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty? That suggests protection and covering. And yes, we had our innocence because we were still there at Dobontier. So it was not all bad. It wasn't all bad. I had a cousin who came from England and said when I was little, if you have never left Dominica, you're going straight to heaven. Because he said, Dominica pani pesce, meaning you haven't seen enough of the world to have even committed sin, because life in Dominica is so pure and innocent it was compared to England, which is where he was from. But think about this. Now we've got cable TV. Lights. Lights. Now we have bright lights. Bright lights hit. Everybody's on the street. When you're in the burning sun in bright light, what is it? More fire. The sun is hot. Heat. I think we're in the middle of the mi-temps soleil right now, taking our fire. Now, how did that come about? In addition to cable TV, you all remember how hard it was to get a little visa even to leave Dominica? Right now, what is it? Everybody getting a visa, You used to go Barbados and pay a little money, and there's people still sending you back home without a visa. Right now, a lot of our kids, because many people have already gone and paved the way, opened the way, they get in green card by the time they're 6, 5 years old. They don't have to wait for it anymore. So the kids leave, they come over here for vacation. They come, they go to school. They see, they experience, and a lot of them go back home with what they have picked up, what they've seen. All of us do. There is a shift that we had to make from being derrière Dobontier to know we in the light. But there's another law of the universe. The universe works with laws, rules, and if you understand it, your life will become easier. One of those rules of the universe is that law called the law of polarity. If there's light, there's darkness. Okay? And they're not all bad. Really, it's the same thing. It's the same thing at a different level. Okay? So, the same progress we made, the same advancements we made, also brought with them a lot of exposure and heat. It's beautiful being out in the sun. If you stay too long, you will get sunburn. You will brûler. If you stay too long, over a long period of time, you will develop melanoma, skin cancer. Okay? It is beautiful, but is more fire on us. It is a hot chalet. Okay? The thing is, we've come too far already from the Edomontier to being out in the sunlight. Right now is bend or break. It's bend or break. We've come too far. We've come too far. There's no going back. We have to learn how to tolerate the heat and all that bright light. We have to learn how to tolerate it. That same sun that helps plants to grow, it'll burn your dasheen. Okay? I think perhaps maybe one of our biggest mistakes as we made the shift from Deye do Bon Dieu to in the middle of the bright light to where we even have World Creole Music Festival. Not Dominica Festival, no, not Dominica Creole Festival. We have World Creole Music Festival. We're bringing international artists home right now. That's a huge shift in consciousness and mindset. One of our mistakes is one wrong move based on this mistake. And we're going over the fathers, One wrong move. We have not brought our mentality back to the mental. We have not brought some of the mentality from the Edo Bon Dieu that we needed to bring. And we have taken on some of the mentality in the big, bright, burning sunshine that we don't need. It's not working for us. So our mentality, in large part, I think, did not evolve with us when we came into the light. It didn't come with us all the way when we came into the light. These kids we're talking about, like we were talking about last night, Dr. Simone and I, these kids that we're talking about, this is the first generation that has been completely exposed to that cable TV situation we're talking about. Because again, I was 10 and we were among the smaller villages, so we did not get cable TV right away. So I was about 10, 11, 12. I was doing my little Gilad, honey. Okay, every day I was doing my little Gilad workout when cable TV hit cottage. Okay, but our kids who seem to be struggling so much, and there are lots of reasons for that, this is the first generation from birth to now. Exposure, bright light exposure. First generation, everybody getting visa, everybody on vacation. Hot girl summer, everybody out. First generation of kids who are just going off to college like this. It's the first generation. But they are born to parents like me and parents like you. And I'm saying like you because that generation, a lot of them not on Facebook, that is old people thing. My kids, they're like, Mom, Facebook. They're on Insta, they're on TikTok, they're on Snapchat, they're on Tumblr. Facebook, for a lot of them, is for those old people, like us. Okay? What we did is we shifted in consciousness. We went higher. We wanted to do better for them than we had. But we didn't have a roadmap. We didn't have people who showed it to us. So we were creating this thing as we went along. Kind of like an experiment, if you ask me. But this is just how life works as people evolve and change. It's how life works everywhere. Okay? We didn't know how to raise this generation of kids who have access to cable TV in their living room because we bought the cable TV. Did we have parents who were telling us how to manage our TV time? No. So we didn't know what to tell them. We really didn't know. We were making it up as we went along. Some of us did it one way, some did it the other way. How many of us had phones when we were growing up? No GPS. We had no GPS, Anthony. We had no smartphones. How could we tell them? How did we even know if they were going on 4chan? Y'all know about 4chan. How did we know if they were going on Reddit and all of these and weird sites? Did we know when they started going on to Pornhub? No. Did we know they were getting sucked in on their little phones we gave them to stay connected into just bottomless pits of darkness? We didn't know. So how would we know what to tell them? We were using the template of parenting that our parents gave us and applying it on a completely different generation, exposed to completely different things. In many ways, it really wasn't our fault. We didn't have the information. We didn't have a template. We didn't know how to do it. So I think a lot of that generation raised themselves on many things. They raised themselves. And we didn't mean for it to be this way, but life evolved and we are also trying to catch up. So I'm trying to encourage you to try to cut yourself a little slack. Although a lot of that responsibility for what's happening with our children, because parents are supposed to train their kids, right? A lot of that falls on us. A lot of that, it's got to fall on us. I see kids many, many, many times. I've seen them over the years. And they come in and the parent is like, Johnny is bad, out of control, not doing right. Johnny has a problem, the child, right? And then when you start digging, you realize it's not a child problem, it's a family problem, it's a system problem. Okay? And once again, like Dr. Simone and I was saying, once you figure out what you can shift, what you can change over here in the environment, sometimes you see a big, big, big improvement in behavior. Okay? I think our generation, we kind of confused. We're not sure if we want to be there, de bon Dieu, or what we want to be still there, de bon Dieu with, or if we want to be here right now in the bright sun. Because a lot of what we had back there was heaven. It felt so good. But we got to be here. So it's like one foot over there, one foot here. I think it's paralyzing us. It's paralyzing us in many areas. And when we're not paralyzed, we're having to learn real fast. Real fast. So bear with me here for a second. That mentality that we need to shift, couple of them. Tribalism. What's tribalism? It comes from that, again, I'm a country girl. Assassination. Do you know what is assassination? Assassination is when people start fighting. When a group of people start fighting. It's Creole word. Group of people start fighting. I used to stay on the little hill where I lived, and in the village on a Sunday afternoon, you would hear, he gas. He gas. A family had started fighting with another family. I don't know if it was similar in your village, but I'm telling you, I saw a lot of that growing up. A sense of tribalism, the groupthink. We all, because we have lapewes. Lapewes is we kind of scaredy cats, you know. We kind of afraid to do big things without company. We like company. We like company. And nothing's wrong with that. Back in the day, right there in the day de bon Dieu, without electricity, you better be walking at night in the unknown with somebody. Okay? We're afraid of darkness and the unknown. Our kids tell us they want to do art or they want to do something digital. And we're like, what is that? What is that? You better get your degree in nursing or engineering or become something that we know about. Okay? The thing is, we cannot have it both ways. And it's us. It's my cohort. It's you and me. It's the people who are on Facebook. It's you who are listening to me. We can't have it both ways. but maybe we can. What we got to do is find balance. Find the balance. We have to own up to our part in this whole debacle that's happening with poor little Kernisha and Kian Alexander. As a collective, I'm saying we cannot just point at everybody else. Okay? One wrong move as a collective, I'm telling you, and that bus of passengers is going down in the valleys. Dominica is at a bend or break position. And I don't care what you think, this is what I think. Okay? Anthony, you said we had no GPS and there were no guns. You are correct. We're in the bright light now. We're in the heat now. In the fire now. We're in the fire right now. Okay? We're in the fire. The thing is, when you decide to, any move you make, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So any move you make, even if it's a positive move, is going to put things out of place, and it takes a while to get it back into place. Huh? It takes a while. So I think we're still figuring this out. I think all of us can agree that tribalism that makes us so malparlant and so red or blue, it has brought us to a halt. It's brought us to a standstill. And it is our mindset from Derrière de Bon Dieu where my people are my people and Sazination, if you hit my sister, my whole family will fall on you. I am not going to listen to what you have to say. That has to change. It's got to come into the light. It's got to come into the light of these societies like this, like Atlanta, like here, where we've come over and we've learned, hey, you can talk through your problems. You don't have to get into a higas. You can disagree and still go out for drinks afterwards. It is okay actually to disagree, because in the disagreeing, you get all of this energy for new ideas. Okay? I think that our government, in large measure, is also stuck like us. Okay? Here we have, what you call it, Kempinski, bright sunshine, bright light. We up there. We're in 2022. I love the idea of the housing revolution. Excellent. But we still dare de bon Dieu when we don't have a mental health system to take care of our people, because we think we don't have those problems. We still dare de bon Dieu when we're not creating enough economic opportunities that are sexier than the guns, Anthony. That is sexier than the fast money. We still dare de bon Dieu when we think that this generation is like us because they came from us. No, we need to find out from them what turns them on. Because what is turning on this generation is not the stuff that used to turn us on. Stuff that used to turn us on was doing the right thing, was doing what our parents said, being a good girl, being smart in school. These kids, this generation is about, hey, this is my thought, my belief. I'm going to do what I want to do. I want to be independent. I'm a free human being. Don't you tell me what to do. So we're talking two different languages. And so we're passing each other. We're not communicating. We're missing each other. And how do you stop missing each other? You stop and you have conversations. You have conversations. You have conversations. Okay? The reason why this is crucial and is either bend or break is because if we allow this problem to keep growing with our youth, you're going to see the 10 murders. And it's not yet even the end of half the year. This is not unique to other people, it is unique to Dominica. That's not new. That's new for us. That's brand new for us. We're not used to that. It's too much for us. It's too much. If we keep this posture where we want to keep the Deado Bonte attitude when it comes to job creation for our youth, you're going to have sociological problems. You cannot help but have sociological problems. And let me tell you, in every culture where you've had a small part of the country have a lot of money, a lot of wealth, and then you have a certain sector where there's not a lot, you better watch out. You better watch out, because people stop caring about the whole. And they start saying, you don't care about me, so now I don't care about you. I'm going to do my own thing over there. So as Dr. Simone and I were saying, we got to move now to solutions. We've got to move now to engaging our professionals who have spent a lot of time in other people's countries, very often studying how to fix these problems. And there are many of us. There are many of us who know how to fix it. So the government has to do that. But we, the people, also have to stand up and do it ourselves too. Okay? We have to stand up and do our part. So me, y'all, I don't need anybody's permission to show up here when I want to, if I want to, and share information about mental health. And that's one area, okay? That's one area. We need our young people to learn how to be entrepreneurs, how to come up with business ideas and sustain these businesses, how to use their divine creativity to generate money. I had a young man recently tell me, yeah, my mom is afraid for me. She says, I keep getting into trouble, but I don't have the patience to wait for money to come to me the way she's telling me money should come to me. So what does he do? He offends, right? And he ends up sometimes getting caught, sometimes not getting caught. Do you understand? Now, for that child, he's still a child, for that young man who grew up in the bright sunshine, bright light, access, we need to have a conversation. We need to have conversations to determine, hey, what is it going to take for you to leave that, to shift from that, to do something better? Because if not, kaipulul kwazi, the bus will go over the fallies. Yes, some things need to stay. Our kudme, our natiwell, our hard work, our ethics, okay? Our conscience, our love for people, our looking out for each other, like the young lady who called her boyfriend and helped Dr. Simone. These things have to stay. They're from the Edo Bondier, but we got to bring them into the light. It's okay. But that crippling mentality where it's us against them just because we are from different points of view, that's going to cripple us. Well, it's already crippled. It's paralyzed us. It's paralyzed us right now. We have to learn to tolerate the brightness of the sun, regardless of if we're on fire, because there's no going back. There's no going back. There's no going back. We need a mental health system that works. We have a lot of unhealed trauma on the island with no access, or let's say very little access, because you have people like Dr. Layton, like Gina Layton, right? And Miss Masticott, and I know of Dr. Wallace. There's another Dr. Wallace. That's fine. There are lots of us Dr. Wallaces all over the place, right? We have to stop using each other's weaknesses against each other. I think the government and the political system has a way of doing that. I think they capitalize on that kind of groupthink that comes from that time when we were more tribal, more Bonti in the shadow. In the shadow, yes. In darkness, yes, but more under God's protection. The way that God protects the innocent. That's the kind of protection we used to have there in that darkness and in the shadow. But we cannot go back. We've got to keep moving forward. So I would love to hear your ideas. I would love to hear your ideas. Some of what I think about, again, are more conversation with this generation, with our young people. Those little guys who getting in trouble and who shooting each other up. I'm telling you, there's an alpha out there on the block. What do I mean by that? There's a boss. There's one that is that's the man. There are a couple. 1, 2, 3 there might be. Have conversations with them now to listen and hear so that we can neutralize that vibe. It's got to be neutralized now. But we won't know how to neutralize it if we're just saying, oh, those stranded, they're so bad. Oh, those young boys, they're just doing this, they're just doing that. That's not how you fix that. You fix this with conversation, man-to-man conversation. Because again, they don't have the same level of respect for authority that we do. So you got to come at them with your full respect and have proper conversations, one-on-one. There's got to be more equity in the way we divvy up resources on the island. It can't be based on tribalism. It can't be based on, it is not going to work. It's 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 not going to work. It is not going to work if we say, because my government is in power, then you, all my people, are going to get jobs and the others don't. Those that you don't, they might be more qualified than those that belong to your group. So are you putting Dominica first when you do that? No, you're not. No, you're not. It's time to stop looking to other people too to save us. We have to save ourselves. We have to save ourselves. And very, very important, hey, we're at risk right now. We're at risk. The kind of people we're asking for help don't care about us because they don't care about other people. Based on what they've done to other people, they are not looking out for us. They're not for us. We might see a few little things in our eyesight, but this kind of stuff is not trustworthy. And I'm not saying more than that because all of us are wise people. Okay? All of us are wise people. We have to become and stand up in the bright light of the sun as independent people. We are an independent nation. So we have to learn to figure out our problems ourselves. Because anybody you get to help you, nothing in life is for free. It's another law of the universe. You got to pay for what you get. Are we ready to pay the cost of what we're getting? I say now is the time to bend before we break. Okay? The tribalism, the stuff that's happening with Kernisha, it cannot be filtered through politics. Mistake. We will miss the opportunity. And we're not going to miss it this time. We're not going to miss it this time. That sassy nasty mentality where we're ready to fall on each other like flies on you know what? We got to pull back from that. That's one of the Derrière Bondier attitudes. We gotta surrender it. We gotta let it go. And keep the spirit of collaboration. Keep the Kudme vibe. Keep the cooperation vibe. Keep the Natiwell vibe. Because we can't afford to lose that. Okay? So tonight, I'm saying, let's wake up. Let's wake up. Nobody can fix it but us. But we have everything we need to fix it. Okay? We've got everything we need to fix it. Let me see what some of y'all are saying. Elvan, thank you very much. Thank you very much for showing up and I said tonight, I'm taking it down a notch. I need a little rest. I need a little medicine. But I understand that this is not a one time deal. So I have to commit to myself and to Dominica to keep speaking up and speaking loudly. So tonight, like DJ Easy, I'm taking it easy, but tomorrow is more fire. Is more fire, eh? Because look, the problems are there. They're not going away. They're not going away now. So I cannot go away. And I want you to stay too. I don't want you to go away. I don't want you to get so exhausted. There's something called compassion fatigue, where we get so tired of feeling sorry for Kernisha and her father that we start plugging out. We start unplugging. And we're like, well, look, my child, sickly, my attention has to go over there. That's true. But we can do all of it at the same time, which is what Dr. Simone was saying. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can keep taking care of our families as life keeps coming hard at us. Again, we brilliant in the sun. But, 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 we still have to fight and talk and scream and yell and advocate for a better mental health system in Dominica. It's more than time. We've been out in the sun for too long. Okay? We bullying and we bullying so much, the whole community is paying the price. We got to deal with this. Okay? There are not enough opportunities for young people to generate income sustainably on the island. We have to make staying in Dominica more attractive to people who are born on the island. We have to make coming back home more attractive to Dominicans who are ready to come home, but are terrified because the situation is not conducive to living your best life. All of us want to live our best life. All of us want to live our best life. And all of us want to see Dominica prosper. Many of us are ready to come home. We need support when it comes to the systems, because it doesn't make sense to come down to Dominica and you have to run back up to Florida when you have a little sneeze because somebody at the hospital is not willing to take care of you, or there's some nonsense going on. You understand? And when we don't fix these systems, everybody loses out, because now the people who could be coming back and pouring back into Dominica, they cannot, and they ought not to, because why would you put yourself at risk? Huh? Why would you put yourself at risk? You're getting older in age. You have things like your health system that you cannot depend on. No, the government has to make sure these things are proper, because those things cost too much money. The individuals, we have to one-on-one, each man, each person, each woman, do your part. Do your part. Get sharper, get better, do more. And do more together again, because that's who we are. That's who we are. You know, when I see people on Facebook saying Dominicans so this and Dominicans so that, I quickly check them, because it's not true. Because Dominica, I know everybody helping you, just like Dr. Simone just said. A random person, that would never happen over here. You better put your big money outside and you better wait in line. Is next week we can bring it for you? Is next week we can bring it for you? If you have to wait 2 weeks, because that's what our schedules say, that's what it is. So we have to keep, I'm telling you, we bring forward, you know, like those people who balance their books, balance their checkbooks, your accounting, bring that balance forward that we keeping, and leave for those people those things that don't work for us in Dominica. Okay? Because all that glitters out there in the sunshine is not gold. Okay? And we don't want it, and we know better. So, this is my offering for tonight. Linnea, How are you, Lene? I'm happy. I saw that you did some planting tonight to calm yourself. Look, working in the soil, and Amma, working in the soil, gardening is one of the most therapeutic and healing things because it's a grounding activity. Okay, so you see how electricity, they have to ground electricity. We are beings of electricity and beings of light as well. We need grounding. So that's why grounding, playing in the dirt is so important. That's why we're making a mistake when we don't garden more in Dominica. These are things that we can bring forward with us because our elders, they are grounded, man. All of them had their little flower garden or their little vegetable garden right there by their house. And those who could had their garden up in the mountains. Okay? So these are things we have to keep doing and that we can do. That's in your power to do, Lenny. You don't need a government to help you to do that. But the things that the government has to do for us, I'm asking them to listen to us more. Listen to us. Again, if you have half of the brain only generating ideas, it's not enough. You need the cohesion, you need all, and you need the resources of all of your citizens, of all the citizens, whether or not they agree with our policies or not. They were born on the island for a reason. And what they have to offer to Dominica, it's unmatched. It cannot be copied. Okay, so the government would be making a mistake, sorry, to continue, if Dr. Simone is correct, to continue maybe being tough and placing retribution on people who disagree or who have other ideas. That is not a way, that's not a winning way. That's not a winning way. Okay? So, Anthony, you are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. I want to thank all of you for showing up. I'm going to keep drinking my little shoff of ginger and lemons and oranges and grapefruits, all of that. And I hope you all have a good night. Okay? Hi, Olivia. Hi, my sister. Thank you, Yusuf, for sharing your time and knowledge with us. You're an inspiration to many of us. Thanks, thanks, thanks. Stay safe, stay blessed, and continued healing for that cough. Thank you so much, Olivia. I tell you, the stress of the past 2 weeks, today I walked around feeling like I just wanted to cry, I just wanted to cry because I'm at a point where I'm sure like many of you thinking like, oh my goodness, like what exactly has happened to her? I think we were looking forward to, at least when Kian Alexander was alive, we had hope. We had so much hope that even if they were out there, he was feeding her, and it was horrible that he had taken her, if he's the one who actually took her, because, these things are, legal situations, there are legal definitions on right and wrong. So at least we thought, even if he has her in a hole somewhere, he knows how to live off the land, so he can feed her and he can give her water. But at this point, it's just really disheartening. And we're going to have to do a lot to heal as a community. I told somebody today, I wonder what it would look like for all of us if the leader of the government now and the opposition leader stood together, made a statement together with the flag of Dominica. I'm a dreamer sometimes, but my dream is not all that far off, because I remember when Bob Marley did that with Siaga and the other guy, Manley, and how healing that was for Jamaica when he did that. Yeah, we are people of deep symbolism. And so I wonder what that would do for us as a community, because we're a community at home and abroad. No matter where we are, like I say, Japan, Mexico, Alaska. We live and we exist as if we are still in Dominica. And again, like I say, we went into a little bit of psychosis for a while where we thought, oh, Dominica can work just on half of its brain, but no brain, no human being, no organism can function well if you're using half of its capabilities. And that's what we're doing if we're being tough. And the thing is, because the government hasn't changed much, which is another problem. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think. That's another problem when you have one system in the same spot for that long. It's going to need servicing. It's going to need servicing. And a lot of the people, this is the first time this has happened in our culture where we've had one government last for so long. Do you know how many people who after 10 years were hoping for a newness or a shift, a change, even if it was just for one term, you know, I think I think that is messing with the mental health of a lot of people too. I think that might explain why some people are so frustrated on Facebook. And that doesn't shock me because if you're doing the same thing for so long, and if the thing you're doing is keeping out some people, if half of the people feel like you're keeping me out, that means for 20 years, you have half of your population who has been feeling left out. How can that not breed problems? Y'all think about it. Like just as a normal common sense. How would that not breed discontent in that half that is having to say, well, I want to say some things, but I cannot really say it because I'm afraid of what will happen or what won't happen for me. So we're making a mistake as a collective to think that that's not a problematic system. I'm not a politician. Like I say, I have thoughts and I share them. It'll resonate with some people. It won't resonate with some people. I think that, on the flip side, that the opposition like really has to do some soul searching and ask themselves questions like, well, why for 20 years have the people said no to you? Because that's also what they're saying. They're also saying no to you. So I think we're adults. I think we have to look at like real things. So what is the opposition doing or not doing that the system has had to, that people keep saying yes? Okay, what needs to be different? Attitude from the leading party has to shift. That's kind of hard. Attitude from the opposition has to shift. That's kind of hard too. But I just don't like that. In a way, we the people are caught in the middle. And so I think we the people have to free ourselves from the paralysis. We have to free ourselves from the paralysis and do more for ourselves. Okay, we have to do more. Become more involved. Olivia says she's so confused with the situation. So many unanswered questions. Yes, we will all need healing from this. May Jehovah give us clarity. I'm praying for that every day. I'm praying for that every day, Olivia. But I think that everything is doing its thing also. So there's a part of me that thinks that all of this that's happening is working towards something. Because that's how I see things play out in my life. So my assumption is that's what's happening collectively. Because the energies change and interact, and one action causes another reaction and all of that. And so I'm staying high like you and asking God, asking Most High for help figuring out, well, what is the next step do I take as an individual? What is the next step that I have to take as a human being, as a person from Dominica? Yeah, I think that the government, the mentality of the politicians didn't shift much from the Day de Bondier, in that they, even though their mentality sorry, shifted, they are using it against us. They're using our groupthink against us. They're using our mentality for assassination and tribalism against us. And so we have to wake up and say, hey, hey, I know we're on the same team. I like your policies, but half of our country is not being utilized. And the answers to many of our problems are going to lie in the other half. Do you see how in some movies you'll have one person has this key, the other one has this key, and they might not like each other, but until they work together, the treasure chest doesn't open. It feels like that for me. Okay, it feels like that for me, because there's no way that we can only utilize half of the country's brain so well that it'll be good for everybody. No, we need all of us. We need everybody's brain tapped in, all of our resources. Okay? Yeah. Lene, you say we are natural and we have so much magic, y'all, in Dominica. I'm telling you, And those of you who can sense energy, you know it. We have so much magic in Dominica. Always have, always will. The land always will, always have. And our people too. But if our people go into a state of sleep and paralysis, they forget. And their forgetting is because they're being so emotional. But I think people are also playing on our emotions. And we have to learn to stop being so reactive as individuals, as people, but make clear choices for ourselves based on what is working for us or what is not working for us. Healthcare, mental health care, it's neglected. We got to do better. We got to come into the sunlight with that. We need to rise from the ashes. Yes. Yes, you're right. Our mind is still back there in the shadow of the behind God's back. Again, God's back was providing us protection, but it was also shade, like darkness too. A little dark. So the mind, when we made the shift forward into the bright light, the mind didn't grow with the shift. The mind stayed small back there in the Day de Bondier place. We got to open it up. Yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of your Thursday. Try to take it easy. Like I said, if I have life and breath, I'm going to be up here. I have plenty fire for a lot of people that they got to listen. We got to listen. And some of us, as you can see, it's not plenty of us that listening to the sweetness and light. Yeah, we've become a little bit jaded. We like drama. We in the assassination mentality. We are more in the assassination. But then again, everything is that law of polarity. It's just different levels, right? So if you think of assassination, down there, fight, he gas, But in what we're doing tonight, I am saying that's a higher level of conversation. But our people are a little bit stuck down there in large measure for now. So that's why I have to come down a little bit. I cannot be or else my conversation, I'll be talking up here. So I have to come here and talk if I want to see anything. So I say thank you to all of you who showed up tonight for the talk. Yeah, there's a time and place for everything, and so tonight this is what we're doing. So I'm gonna tell you all peace. I'm sending you all love and light, and with you, I'm praying for resolution on Kernisha's situation. So let's just keep praying for her that her life is for her highest good, for all of us, our highest good as well as a country. Okay? Bye, y'all. Good night. Sleep well. Dormez bien.